and Eminem was behind the bench, said, "You won't be getting number 6 tonight, buddy." And it's Eminem.
Yeah.
You know, one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Go.
You know?
We all love him.
Yeah, and so I had to talk trash back to him.
What'd you say?
You in trouble now, dog. They better get me. And then after I did this dunk on Rip, I looked at him like, told you, it's over.
On today's episode, we are talking Game 5 of the 2005 NBA Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the Detroit Pistons.
Don't tell nobody this, but I go back and watch this game and pat myself on the back and smile because I had a hell of a game, man.
Big shot Rob Horry is in studio, 7-time champion.
He did it last year in the finals. He's done it for us all regular season long, and he's going to keep on doing it, and that's Robert for you.
When I look back, I think this is the second hottest I ever been.
So it's a back and forth night.
I sucked in the first half.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the corner talking to myself, "Yo, Rob, you suck tonight. You supposed to be big shot Bob. You terrible." And Bruce is looking at me like, "This dude going crazy, right?" And then next thing you know, I come out in the second half and I just ball out.
21 points in the last 17.
To have the performance I had in the fourth quarter and a little bit overtime with no plays called for me is one of the best performances you can have.
Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. Welcome to Games with Names, presented by WynnBET. On today's episode, we are talking Game 5 of the 2005 NBA Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the Detroit Pistons with Robert Horry. Who's the real big shot? We get into that. We get into the talk of rings and things.
Rings and things, baby. I was ring watching.
You got 7 of them things. The secret about being clutch we'll get into. We get a lot of visualization
Visualize
stuff.
success.
I feel like we got scientific, sports science. What is that shit they have on the Worldwide Leader?
That guy from Sports
I don't know,
Science,
but I
can't remember his name.
I feel like he's been gone ever since.
I don't know. It gets too deep.
Yeah, we get into Pop versus Jackson, Phil. Completely different. Awesome to really get to hear where they were the same and where they were like completely different.
Rob can speak on both of those. Not a lot of guys can.
He can, man. And I mean, you can't talk this era of basketball without talking brawls.
Malice in the Palace, baby.
Malice in the Palace. We even dabble in a little college football. Big Alabama guy, Roll Tide.
Yep.
And then we'll wrap up the show talking about some of the most clutch athletes of all time with some game Jackie throws at me.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Make sure you check out Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok at Games with Names. We should probably change that to X. Subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We want to hear from you. Call in at 424-291-2290. And leave a message, guys. Leave a message for some game wrecks or some of your old stories of the iconic games we all associate with, or maybe just some advice. Whatever you want, give us a call. Games with Names is brought to you by WynnBET. WynnBET brings the excitement of the Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Boston Harbor to your phone. Join WynnBET today and bet with the official online gaming product from Wynn Resorts. Let's go. June 19th, 2005. The Palace at Auburn Hills, Michigan.
The Spurs trail by 2 with 9.4 seconds left, side out of bounds.
Manu gets doubled on the catch. He kicks it to Horry. This is Game 5 of the 2005
NBA Finals.
My God. Welcome to Games with Names, presented by WynnBET, and we have a very special guest today. Big shot Rob Horry is in studio, 7-time champion, which I joked with him. I said, "Hey man, you got the Brady." He goes, No. I got the Horry. I started it first. What did you say?
I said, no, Brady has the Horry.
Oh, there it is. There it is. 18-year NBA career. If you have a word of clutch his name and his picture is in that dictionary. You know, they call him Big Shot Rob for a reason, or Bob. Thanks for coming to the studio, man. Welcome.
Man, thanks for having me. You know, I just, when they called me and told me that you wanted me to be on your podcast, I said, me? He sure you to be me?
Get out of here.
Because I'm such a big fan of you, man. Like when you on TV, Sunday football, I'm always watching you. When you go off, I go somewhere else. I love what you do, man. So
I appreciate that. And I mean, let's just jump into it. You know, what people don't realize, our set time was 11 o'clock. Okay, 11 o'clock. And, I'm in here taking a shower, getting ready, just got back from the gym. It's 10:50, and I got people coming to the room. Hey, Rob's here. And is that the kind of guy you were when you were playing? Like, it just right away, 10 minutes early, probably doing a couple shots, getting lubricated. What's going on?
But, for me is when you're an athlete, if practice starts at 10 o'clock, you're always going to be there at 9:30, 9 o'clock, depending on if you need to get treatment. And that's just who I am. I value time. Time is so precious to me, and I don't want to waste your time because I don't know if you got Tom Brady coming in after me. I know I might get bumps. I want all my time, you know what I mean? But I just think that you have to respect people's time, and I always want to be on time. And if I'm ever late, I'll probably apologize 20 times if I'm late, but you know how it is being an athlete. You got to be ready to go. When coach says practice at 11 o'clock, you got to be ready to go.
You got to. With the John Wooden rule, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
So today we are looking at the Spurs versus the Pistons. I mean, we have so many games we could have got into, but we had to get into the 2005 NBA Finals game. Game what, Jackie?
Game 5, baby.
Game 5. Is that an important game?
Some would say.
Is that an important? Isn't there some kind of crazy stat if it's 2-2 tie?
17 of the last 23 at this time had gone on to win the finals. So Game 5's pivotal.
Pivotal. By the way, that's Jack. That's Kyler.
Robert, good to meet you, man.
Part of the crew.
Got a great crew here, man.
You're making it even. Dude, you're making it. This is all for you. Yeah. Explain to us why this game.
You got to understand, and when you're playing a really good team like we were back then, in the Detroit Pistons, they had just beat the Lakers for a championship, so they wanted another championship because you know how it is in sports. When you win one, someone said, "Oh, it was a fluke," but when you win two, they say you're a dynasty, even though you're not a dynasty, but they start talking about, oh, this is the possibility of a dynasty. So that's a very pivotal game. And we in Detroit. And for people who don't know, this was a time when the playoffs was 2-3-2. So you play 2 at home, then you go on the road and play 3, and then you play 2 at home to try to win it. So you think about this, Detroit Pistons, Detroit basketball, these guys don't lose at home. So if we go down 3-2 going back to our building, it's going to be hard to win, 2 games in a row. So game 5, I just caught fire, and it was one of those games where when you go, I even don't tell nobody this, but I go back and watch this game and pat myself on the back and smile because I had a hell of a game, man.
Now, when you're in that kind of zone, like I remember once in 8th grade, I was playing at WPPSL. At Mount Carmel, and I felt like I was in the zone. Anytime I'd throw it up, I caught that for like 2 seconds. Is that how, like, you just, anytime you shoot, it's in?
Man, when I look back at certain games, I think this is the second hottest I ever been in the NBA. The first time was in Cleveland where I hit like 9 threes in that game, and that was hot. And then there's another time where I was kind of equal to that when Milwaukee, where I got my career high 40. But this game, because in those games, when I say that, they ran plays for me. This game, didn't run one play for me. It was just all shots. I just, F this. I'm taking this. I'm feeling good. And for me, when you get that hot, the basket is like the ocean. Just, whatever way you do it, it goes in.
Now, let's talk about some of these facts. You're from Bama?
I'm from Alabama.
So are you a big Bama fan? Roll Tide?
Roll Tide all the way, man. I love college football.
So is that your Saturdays is dedicated to college football?
I watch
or Alabama football?
No, college football, period.
In general.
I watch everybody. I watch Florida State play. I watch Oregon because my stepdaughter, she went to Oregon. I watch UCLA. I just love college. I love football. Yeah. My mama wouldn't let me pay, by the way, but I love it. And I sometimes watch college more than NFL because it's almost like a different type of passion.
Yeah.
It's like the pros are so good and they're so precise, but you just like the rawness of the college game. How some of those guys can't do the precision that you guys do, and I was just like, it's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Now, do you think it's changing a little now that these guys are basically professionals, making more money and taking pay cuts once they get to the NFL? Even though Alabama, Florida, and I think Georgia and a lot of these other teams, when I was playing, they were taking pay cuts because they were getting paid by boosters. So, you know, like, has it changed?
You know, it's changed because every time you pick up the whatever you want to app or whatever, you see, oh, this quarterback is in the portal. I think it's like 12 quarterbacks in the portal already.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on, you know. And I know it's all about you and the loyalty. There's no loyalty in sports, so to say. But I just think it gets to a point where the NCAA, I think they have to, you know, monitor this.
Yeah.
Because I seen one guy, he transfers every year. It's like, are you trying to get to the next level or are you just trying to get paid? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all about you getting your paper. But it has to be some type of control. And I know this is the last year, the COVID year and whatnot. And they need to get a handle on it.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, because if you're going to get paid,
Mm-hmm.
like us pros, we sign contracts.
Yeah.
You can't. This is the best free agency I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
I mean, legit. It's your free agent every year if you want to be.
Yes.
Which, you know, is good and bad. Yes, I definitely think it's changing a little, and they definitely have to have some kind of regulation on it.
Yeah.
So you're watching college football. What's life for you like now that you've been retired a little bit? You know, and like you said, time allocation's everything. What's the time going to these days?
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm in the TV world where I do Laker television. I work for Spectrum, I don't know if I can say it on him, but Charter, and then we do the Lakers television. And I've been there for 13 seasons, and, you know, country boy from Alabama, I never thought I would be doing Laker television because LA's, you know, it's not the dirty South. You know, it's some of the slang I use. People are like, what the hell did you just say? But I'm having fun. But it also allows me to do my schedule the way my son's high school schedule. I schedule around his schedule. Since I've been there 13 years, I can do that. And that's the most important thing, man, to try to go to each and every one of his games. But I also talk to his coach when I be like, yo, is this a good game? He's like, nah, that's not a good game. You don't need to be at that one. Because they've been blowing people out by 30 and 40 because they won state championship last year. So they're really, really good. And so I'm like, okay, do I go make money or do I miss this game or do I make this game? And I like my schedule now because I can do what I want to do. 13 years, yeah.
Dude, I mean, you've earned that. And that's what a lot of people don't realize when we were talking. When you sacrifice as much time and energy and attention of your life to a single craft, which people don't realize, 10 minutes early before the meeting, Mr. Horry was here. So you know he was a constant professional.
Yeah.
That, like, once you're done, you know, you got to give your flowers to all the people in your circle, and that's your family, your friends, and give them. So, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's so important, you know, to make sure you know, because think about it. How old are your kids?
My little girl's just turned 7.
See, in 10 years, you're going to be like, where did the time go? She's going to be off to college, and you're going to be like, she's never going to call you, but once you want something. So, so it's just like that. You know, I have 2 older kids, and they're like, yo, what do you need? Dad, I can tell by one of them text like, yo, Papa. I'm like, okay, what do you need? It's so funny. He says like Papa. When he says Papa, I'm like, you never call me Papa. But he's like, Papa. I'm like, what do you need? Well, my truck needs new tires. I'm like, well, go get some. So, but I love my kids, man. I do anything in the world for them, and you know, it's just fun. So enjoy that 7-year-old.
I know. We just started soccer. Things are crazy right now. Getting them in. She's in this little club team and trying to see if she likes it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because she's athletic. It's just, you know.
Does she get that from you or from her mother?
What?
Her athleticism.
I would say me. No. Let's go back to early days. Where'd this clutch start?
You know, for me, I think it happened in high school. And I can really pinpoint when it happened. We used to have this tournament, the Andalusia Invitational, where it was a Christmas tournament. My junior year, I'm killing it.
What year is
this? It's I don't really want to say, but okay, you make me say 1987.
All right. I was born in 88. 86.
87, and it's our tournament, and I get fouled, and we're down 2. I go to the free throw line, make the first one, I miss the second one, we lose the game. And I remember walking in that locker room. We hadn't lost that tournament in like 20 years. This was the first time I was losing. I walk in the locker room. All my teammates are crying. And I'm sitting there like, what did I just do? And from that moment on, I said, I got to be better. I got to be more focused. I got to do whatever I can do to make sure we're not put in this position again. And then what really made me feel bad is, the next game we played, I had like 50 points. I mean, killing it, right? But I get MVP. And I have a picture of me where I'm holding the trophy like, I don't deserve this. Even though I was the best player in that tournament and they gave it to me, I'm like, this is home cooking. I was like, I don't want this. And because I didn't deserve it because I let my team down. From that moment on, I just been that type of player to do whatever it is my team needs, to score points, defense, block shots, rebound, because it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me being successful. It was about us being successful.
It's so crazy. It's something as little as that sparks a mindset where you don't want to let your team down. And I have a story where the same thing where I felt terrible. It was my sophomore year of high school.
What year was that?
I was at
What year was that?
2002.
Oh man, I was on my fifth championship?
Yeah, come on. I was watching you. And we were undefeated, 9-0. The team that we were playing, Menlo Atherton, it was our rival. They were 9-0. And it was frost off. I was a late bloomer, but we were good. And I was playing safety, and a kid, it was like there's 6 seconds to go. They threw it deep. I went up, and I high-pointed it and picked it. And I was trying to run it back, and I did a stumble bum. A stumble bum's when you put your arm down and you have the ball right here to try to keep yourself up. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, and one of their guys took the ball, and we were tied and scored. Time off. We lost.
Wow.
That's what you were talking about right there from your story about missing that shot and let your team down. I felt so terrible, that that literally hurt me. It still hurts me to this day. Losing to Menlo Atherton, our rival, 9-0 versus 9-0. Championship on the line.
Yeah.
It was bad, man. But, from there on out, it puts a reminder in your head. You never want to feel that again. Yeah. So you tighten everything up. It's
amazing how much more focused little things like that can make you in your career. And when you don't have any adversity or any setbacks like that, it seems like everything is like you're going down a path. But when it hits you, you're like, okay, what? It's like a shell shock. So I can appreciate that moments.
Yeah. Now, you were Alabama Player of the Year in high school.
Correct.
Grew up in Bama. Was it a given you were going to go to Bama?
No, I wanted to go to Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech?
Yes, I wanted to go to Georgia Tech. And because I went to a high school that was – they didn't give us pep rallies. They didn't do anything. Our football team they were decent, but they weren't as good as us. And it just pissed me off each and every day. They didn't respect basketball. Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm not going to Alabama, man. Alabama is football, football, football. I said, I want to go to the ACC. I want to play for Bobby Cremins and Georgia Tech.
So how much do they pay you to get you go?
Here's the funny. Nobody ever gave me anything. Someone, I'm not going to say who, offered my mom a car. And my mom says, I don't want that shit. She said, because I don't want to feel like I owe you anything just in case my son decides to, leave that school. And so my mom wouldn't take anything. And she heard that I took $500 from someone. She was like, you need to give that money back. I says, okay. I didn't give it back, but I said, okay. But for me, it's just Georgia Tech, the ACC, a basketball conference. You say ACC, basketball comes to mind. When you say SEC, football comes to mind. So I was like, I want to go to the ACC. But, my mom, she gets mad when I tell this story. My mom said, well, if you go to Georgia Tech, you probably won't see me that much. If you go to Alabama, you'll see me a lot. And so I went to Alabama.
Oh, that's
yeah. But by the way, though, I was also academic player of the year in Alabama too. So
academic, Mama had him right.
Yeah, my mom was a school teacher. My dad served 18 years in the military, so I had a lot of discipline in my life.
You know what I was going to ask? He was 10 minutes early. I was going to say, you got family in the military as well. I swear to God, I was thinking that. Yeah. Okay, so ACC basketball, SEC football.
These were good Georgia. These were Final Four Georgia Tech teams.
Yeah.
Kenny Anderson days.
Yeah.
I got a game real quick. What comes to mind when you say Pac-10?
Basketball.
What comes to your mind when you hear
Big Ten.
Big Ten?
Football,
And most importantly, what comes to your mind when you hear the MAC?
baseball.
Baseball?
Yeah.
Who's out of baseball?
I don't know. I just want to give baseball some love.
It's too cold for even though Kent State, my school in the MAC, they went to like 3 or 4 College World Series in the last couple decade or something. They didn't win, I don't think, but
I think I love baseball too. I just I played baseball growing up. A lot of people thought I was going to get a scholarship in baseball before basketball.
what position?
I pitched first base and center field.
You're throwing gas, clearly.
That's all I had. I
mean,
had a change up, a fastball, and a curveball. I had 3 pitches. That's all.
Could you imagine big shot Bob on the mound looking like Randy Johnson? Because Randy's what, 6'7", you're 6'8", 6'10"?
6'9", 6'10",
6'10"?
yeah.
Jesus. You probably would have been able to throw for years too because your body's so big and like lanky. You just, whap. Man.
Yeah.
All right. I was a Warriors fan growing up.
Okay.
But, and I changed being a Warriors fan because they got so good and I went to Boston.
So you're a Celtics fan now?
I became boys with the guys.
Okay, I can respect that.
You know what I mean? I became, and everyone, it's kind
That's
of.
how I became an Astros fan because
Yeah.
I became friends with Bagwell and Biggio and
Yeah.
all those guys. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Boston. They were winning. And when I left, the Warriors were, they were getting good and they were signing. It became different than the Warriors I grew up on. I grew up with Spree.
My teammate.
Your teammate from college. Choking out coaches and stuff. Had a Spreewell jersey. Loved it.
Yeah.
Any good Spreewell stories from back to school?
Man, it's Spreewell was, believe it or not, very quiet. Didn't say much, and he was, was really nothing to say. He loved electronics. He loved cars. That's when he had the spinners and stuff like that. He was just that quiet guy, man. It's no stories to tell. We were.
So he's an imploder.
Yeah. If you look at our team at Bama's, we've had I played with 15 pros that went on to the NBA. Sorry, and there was never anybody. We just came and did work, man. We came, we worked out, did our job, and went home. We had no characters. Yeah. I only got the characters till you get to the NBA. That's the only time you come across characters.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with you, is 52 of you guys on the field?
53 on a squad, 46 on game day, but then you have 100 with practice squad
That's
guys.
the characters right there, though. So
Yeah, there was, but where I was at,
no nonsense.
it was kind of like probably were, like the Spurs.
Yeah.
You had structure,
Yes.
and your best player was the guy holding the court.
Yeah.
And if he's working hard and not being a character, Tom Brady,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have guys do that. Now, we had fun in different ways, but everyone was about that work.
Yeah.
Everyone was about the work. Like, practice was really hard for us. Everything was evaluated always. It was never about, slapping a guy in the butt for doing his job. It was more like, this is what you did wrong. You're expected to do that. Now let's go. Let's correct it so we all can sleep at night.
I'm the type of person, my wife gets mad at me because I don't give people credit for things they're supposed to do.
Same.
And so she gets mad. I'm like, well, he's supposed to do that. I'm like, no, you should. I'm like, I tell him every night he played a good game, but she says you always focus on the negative. I'm not focusing on the negative. I'm pointing out the things that you could have done better to make yourself better. And she's like, well, you need to focus on some of the good things. I said, I do, but not as much as the bad things. I said, I have a relationship with my son that's different than you. And so I appreciate people like that says, okay, we're going to work hard. I'm not going to say, okay, you caught the ball. You're supposed to catch the ball.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm not going to give you a high five. Now, if it's a hell of a catch where you catch it like this with 3 fingers or something, then I might give you a little praise.
Yeah. And, and I have to catch myself with that too, because that's the environment pre my era and pre my era were like, it wasn't about really like we're out here to have fun. It was like we're out here to fucking win.
Yeah.
We're out here to do a job.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like that. And especially nowadays, it's different. Things.
It's really different.
You gotta love kids up.
Yeah.
And if you don't, they could tank or something. So. It's definitely changed.
Those words built different. It applies in so many different ways. You know what I mean? I know even with Phil, when we would do stuff, like we would practice hard, and you would come to our practices, you'd be like, did they just lose? Our practices were intense. Nowadays guys, they don't even practice anymore. They do walkthroughs to practice. Like, we need to save our bodies. We need to load management. It's like all these practices prepared us for the games, made the games easier. You think about Shaq and Kobe, and you on the second team, they mad that day. They coming at you. That's gonna make you better. That's gonna teach you the game even more. And that's just the way the game should be played. And it's so weird because I learned that when I first got in the league, because I had Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, Olajuwon, Otis Thorpe. These guys went hard every day. Then when I got traded to the Phoenix Suns, I'm going in practice. I'm like, what is this, a country club? Yeah. They didn't practice hard. They didn't do this. I'm like, now I understand why we used to, when we were down 3-1 to you guys, we came back and beat you. Then when we were down 3-2, we came back and beat you, because the mentality and the way you're taught things in practice, there's no carryover to the games. And that's why you see, and me from watching games, you can tell the teams that practice and the teams that don't practice.
It's gotten tricky too now because of the sports science and all this load management and this and that. And it started getting prevalent when I started, middle of my career, where we were on the GPS things and they'd say you'd be down or you'd be up according to your energy output and your recovery levels and this. And it's kind of interesting to me because we're starting to see like so many more injuries. Like I was talking to our trainer, and he goes, we do everything by decades. It used to be you get one Achilles, every couple years. Now we're getting 3 Achilles, a year.
Yes.
And it used to be where you practice so hard, and if you didn't get out of camp, like if you'd get hurt in camp, but whoever calcified and made it through camp, you're putting yourself in the best situation to finish a season. You know what I mean? Now it's kind of like, well, we can't practice them too hard, where maybe it's gone to the point where you're not stressing your body enough that when you hit that sudden jolt of energy in a game situation, which you always get 5% higher because you're in competition and you have that adrenaline mode. So maybe the body's not used to it, so now we're seeing a lot more crazy injuries.
See, I totally agree with you on that. I said, to me, that's my philosophy, because right now, if we went out and say, okay, you and I are going to run a 100-yard dash, and the competitive nature in this is going to come out, I'm probably going to pull a hamstring. Yeah. You probably going to finish, but not me, because I'm 53.
I'll break a knee.
Yeah, I'm going, because we haven't trained our bodies. We haven't trained our bodies, and that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, you got to train your body so when you get into that moment, you're ready for that moment. And plus, I also think that due to the fact in the NBA, guys can, smoke certain things to mask the injuries and the pain. So they say, okay, I'm smoked this, I don't feel no pain. Now you go out and like, okay, this was a worse injury than I thought it was. Now it's out for the season injury. So I think there's so many things like that that go into why guys aren't, staying on the field or the court or as much as possible, because they don't recognize what's going on.
It was crazy, which it was my strength, but also probably what put me out was I would train so hard in the off season where you're taxing your body so hard that like you're redlining on injury just in off season training, just because you want to get your body to a whole nother level for the season. And you got to get it prepared for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
So I don't feel like that's happening as much. So then when you do put that energy output into a game, that's when things can go wrong. Your body's got to feel it, you know? So it's complicated. I don't know what the answers are, but it just, to me, it seems like there's a lot more of these injuries.
A lot more.
And maybe guys, maybe need to take a teaspoon of cement.
Yeah. And I also, my training process in the summer was very hard also. I've had 3 NBA players, I'm not going to call their name out, that will work out with me. And then by day 3, like, dude, I'm out. I said, why? You train too hard. I'm like, dude, you got to prepare yourself for when training camp comes, because back then we had training camp for 2 weeks, and it was 2-a-days.
Yeah.
You want to be ready, so you're not that 3rd day of training camp, you can barely move. So the guys like, no, you train too hard. They said you got to prepare your body for it, so everything else will be easy. And it's just weird how and these are superstars that you were like, oh crap, just imagine if you trained hard, how good you would be.
Yeah.
Some guys are just God gifted.
Let's get back into the game. In 2005, what was life like for you?
It was amazing, man. You think about this. You're on a national stage, world stage, because the game is so global now. and you're able to go out and play for a team that, hated you just 2 years ago because I was on the Lakers, and now you're able to go out and perform and have such a great performance that it goes down as one of the best games ever. And for me, I remember my first year being with the Spurs. I'm sitting there. They're getting their rings. They're beating us. And I'm sitting like, shit, I've never been on this side of it. I'm usually getting the ring. So the first year I was with the Spurs, I had a bad year. So this was my second year with the Spurs. So I was on a 1-year deal. I signed for like $1 million. Nobody knows this. I could have went to the Dallas Mavericks and paid for like $4 million a year, whatever it was. But I said, you know what? I had such a bad year. I feel like I owe them. And I stayed, and that's the performance I had. And it's like, you know what? This is who I am. Don't look at what the performance, because people, they always say I only show up during the playoffs, which is not true. It's just you use me more in the playoffs because you need me. And so and for me, that game, that series was just incredible, because if you go down the history of the NBA and people I had to guard, it's been two guys that always given me problem: Tim Duncan and Rasheed Wallace, because of their size and their athletic ability. And Rasheed was just a tough cover for me. And then win that series against him, even though a couple of years before that we won that series in Portland, but he's just one of the greatest players that nobody ever talks about, because he could do a little bit of everything. So when I look back at that, yeah. When I look back at that 2000,
did he have like the little ball spot? Was
his
ball spot?
He's a great spot.
Great
spot.
spot. Great
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Hooping
I
and
used to fuck with
forces.
him.
Yeah.
Two Bud Heavies in the locker room.
Both
after
the
game.
Wallaces too, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it was a fun series, man. And for me, like I said earlier, to have the performance I had in the fourth quarter and a little bit overtime with no plays called for me is one of the best performances you could have.
Yeah. Dude, so we have a segment where we go back in time
Mm-hmm.
of 2005, around the era of the game, and the number one movie was Batman Begins. You remember that movie?
Yes, I do.
The start of the trilogy for Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites. This is when I fucking loved, because I was a huge Batman fan when I was a kid, and I had all the action.
Still am.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave you, it was like the first movie that gave you the origins of where Batman came from, and the whole, like, he had to go and.
So are you DC or Marvel?
I'm Batman.
Okay. Okay.
I like Batman.
Okay.
I like Marvel's. I like the original ones. It's just gotten a little too crazy now.
Yeah.
Where everything's connected. I like the original Iron Man, the original OG Spider-Man.
Yes.
You can never go wrong with all the Spider.
Yeah.
I like the Spider-Mans.
Yeah. I love Nick Fury though. Just who doesn't love Samuel Jackson?
Yeah.
I just love Nick Fury.
You can't not like Samuel L. Jackson. I used to call Martellus Bennett. You remember Marty?
Yeah, I know Martellus. Yeah.
He used to get on these little tangents, and he sounded just like Samuel L. Jackson to me.
Yeah.
He just, how like Samuel, like, you got to be, what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd be saying that shit in team meetings and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Number one song is "We Belong Together," Mariah Carey. Actually, fun fact: my first concert ever. I was in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I went and saw Mariah Carey. I was like 4'2", and I actually met her.
See. You met her?
I met her.
Yeah.
And I was 4'2", so you could only imagine I was like in heaven.
I know. I
was
had the
standing next to
pleasure.
her.
I had the pleasure of meeting her once too because of Penny Marshall. Penny Marshall was a good friend of mine, and she's like, "Oh, Mariah you want to go?" And and she introduced. I was like, "Wow, she is so pretty."
She is.
Yeah, I was amazed, but yeah.
And her voice,
Yes.
just her regular talking voice,
Mm-hmm.
is just
Yeah.
beautiful. Reddit was founded at this time on June 23rd. Do you ever go on Reddit?
No.
It's basically.
I know
like
what it is, but I never go on. I have this game that I have on my iPad, and it says you go on Reddit and they tell you what to do. I'm like, I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah. I have a text chain, a group of friends that are always talking about it. I'll jump on it here and there.
Yeah.
But, Wedding Crashers hits theater. Did you see that?
Oh, motorboat, man. Yeah.
Oh, motorboats. Those bad boys do. See?
Everybody loves Wedding Crashers, man. Yeah.
Oh, don't think my daughter's gonna be a little notch on the belt. Not wearing a belt, beltless. In the sports world in 2005, the Patriots beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 34.
Yeah.
That was a dream team that they beat. Remember,
Yeah.
that was when Batia balled out with like a broken leg.
Yeah.
Those were some good games. Tiger Woods won his 4th Master. That was must-watch TV for me anytime he was playing.
Tiger.
Yeah, that's like my favorite thing to watch as a
Do you
kid.
play a lot of golf?
No,
I don't play at all either.
I don't either, but I loved watching Tiger Woods because
Yeah.
anytime at this era, it was like he was down 3 strokes going into Sunday. You knew there was blood in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
He had the red on.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger was just going to go crazy.
The Stanford
Reggie
guy.
Miller's final season in the NBA. What a stud.
Oh, he was. You know, we actually tried to get him to come join the Spurs in 2000 after he retired. So, come play with us. You got a chance to win a championship. He's like, nah, I'm done. I did it with him. I did it with Grant Hill. I'm like, come on, Grant, come join us, man, get a championship. But Grant decided to go to the Suns. I'm like, see, I told you, I don't lose, dude. Every other year I win a championship.
Every other year. Literally.
Yeah.
They were saying KG tried to do that for the Celtics too in 2008. They tried to get Reggie.
Yeah.
He said no again.
I mean, you got to respect a man that says when he's done, he's done.
Oh,
Yeah.
respect.
That's, you know what I mean? Steve Nash won MVP. This was in Steve Nash era.
Yeah.
This-
This is that controversial one.
Let's hear it.
Because this is the one where Kobe balled out. This is what Kobe had. I think he had the 81-point game, and he was just, and everybody's like, because when you do, I love Steve Nash. Steve Nash was my rookie in Phoenix. It's like the NBA always look at the previous season. If you have the exact same stats, you don't win MVP. They think about it, because Jordan, really? So he had the exact same stats. The team actually, I think, had more losses, and he got MVP, and everybody's like, what the hell is this? And it's just they didn't grade him on the curve as they graded MJ, Barkley and Dream and all these other guys who had won MVPs before him. If you ask Shaq say this is year he should have won it. You ask Shaq, he should have won it every year he played.
This was Miami Shaq too.
Mm-hmm.
This is Miami Shaq.
Yeah.
Man, I love Shaq.
Yeah, I do too.
I just ordered a Shaq-a-roni a
Bro,
couple days ago.
the Shaq-a-roni is so underrated.
I mean,
Ugh.
I still have heartburn from the pepperoni.
And that's like my comfort food, man. Pizza and football. That's
Pizza.
the perfect thing.
Where's your favorite pizza from?
You know what? I don't.
Because you basketball guys, literally, you have lives in every city.
Yeah.
So you like football, when we travel, we got meetings from when we get there. We got curfew. We got meetings in the morning. Ain't nobody leaving.
We ain't got no curfew.
I know. You guys get to have a whole life.
I remember, man, when you play in LA, you only get to go to Miami once. I remember one time, man, we got into Miami maybe like at 12 o'clock. We got there like 5 limos lined up. And we went straight from the bus to limo and feel like, where the hell y'all going? We going out. I think everybody on the team went out, man. We already had the cars lined up, and we went and hung out. It was like, shit, we don't get it that much, so we going to hang out. And that's the one thing that, now with the NBA set up, they couldn't have did it in our era, because now you think you go to a city, you might play 2 games in that city. Man, it wouldn't have been no good for us, man.
Man.
So think about that, you in Miami for like 6 days or something like that. Man, that's why you should have home court advantage, because you in Miami for 6 days or LA. Think about it, you in LA. Some guys in LA are weak because you got the Clippers and you got the Lakers. I'm like, man, if you don't win that game, those guys' legs should be dead from partying and doing all that type of stuff. So, we won't. That's for after dark. Edelman, we'll talk about the next time, but
After dark.
yeah.
Games with names unrated, baby.
Yes, exactly.
Man, Miami does start at 12. I mean, that's when you're starting to
Yeah.
wrap up dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set the stage, Jack, for the Detroit Pistons going into this game.
Let's jump into the defending champ Pistons,
Defending
as
champ.
Rob alluded to earlier. They were coming off that 4-1 win over the Lakers in the finals. So they had the bullseye on their back. Larry Brown in his second season, second seed in the East. This is a team with the Wallaces, Rip Hamilton, Darko on the bench still. We got Antonio McDyess. We got Carlos Arroyo, Mr. Big Shot. We'll get into that later, we know who the real big shot is, though. Chauncey, current Lakers head coach, Darvin Ham. They had Ben Wallace, Defensive Player of the Year. This was also the Malice in the Palace season. So don't forget that is a little bit of a...
What is your thoughts about that?
Well,
What are the boys talking about in the locker room after that shit goes down? Are you guys like, I can't believe that happened, or like,
man, we like, what the fuck were they thinking, man? Because I went into the stands once to get Vernon Maxwell when we was in Portland, and luckily I just grabbed him to get him out of the stands, and before anything went down, he got suspended, I think 5 games, and I didn't get suspended. I only got fined like $5,000 or something like that. But that was bananas where, people don't realize that year the Pacers probably beat them to go to the finals. The Pacers were freaking good that year.
Yeah.
That team was a beast, and now they open up the opportunity for these guys to do what they're doing. But I have the pleasure of doing this my show with the Lakers with Artest sometimes, and he talks about it. He always says,
"You mean Meta?"
Yeah, he says he don't know what he just clicked and he just lost,
blacked
man.
out.
Yeah,
you know what?
Because it all started with him and Ben Wallace getting into it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you've seen The Malice in the Palace, but you have to watch it. It's really good, and it breaks it down and explains everything about the situation.
Very into the game, like garbage time.
The thing is with basketball, these people are right up on you.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a chili dog on a basketball sometimes when it's thrown out of bounds. I mean, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
With football, these guys have to be, there's like, there's a fucking block off.
And then the thing about football, I love football, like I said earlier, but when you watch it, it's like it's so hard to know who every guy is because you can't see your faces.
Yeah.
You're always covered up. And the guys who really wear those black shields, I don't know how they see and catch balls with that. You don't know who they are. And it's like with us, all we got was a tank top and some shorts. So you see pretty much all of us. And so and then the fans are right there on the court and they talking trash and they like in your ear. And so I really appreciate my sport, but I kind of love your sport. The fact that you're walled off from the fans and then you can't really hear what they say. I know you probably can, but I just assume that you can't.
Yeah. I mean, worst fan base that talked the most shit. What was yours?
Oh, my
when you
goodness.
Were playing? I'll tell you mine afterwards.
Utah.
I've heard that.
People don't understand the Utah Jazz fan are hoes. They can say some wild and out of pocket stuff, man. Yeah.
I have to, I've played against some crazy fan bases. Buffalo is always crazy fun. But I had this part in the back of my head. I had these two lines. And I went up to Philadelphia thinking I was tight.
Yeah.
Went to Philly. Had like a mohawk thing, couple parts. This guy for fucking 3 straight hours talks shit about my goddamn part in the back. Hey, Edelman, that fucking part in the back's terrible. The whole night. After I threw a touchdown pass to that game, I went right up to him. I looked at him, and I just pointed at my part. I was like, fuck you. No, but it's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun talking shit with fans.
It's fun, yeah.
What we got, Jackie?
Oh, yeah, that about does it for the Pistons. Great defensive team also.
Also, by the way, shout out. I was at Travis Scott 2 weeks ago, and Rip was...
I was at Travis Scott.
Were you here?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Rip was right next to me and Gronk. Me and Gronk went to it.
Oh, okay.
And we were I was talking to Rip. He's a big-ass football fan because him and Brady were cool, I think, because he went to UConn, and, they were winning championships this time.
Yeah, Rip was thinking about sending his kids to Harvard Westlake. I think they went to Campbell Hall. But, yeah, Rip always, he tells his kids he's never been dunked on. And then one of his kids says, didn't Robert Horry dunk on you in the finals in Game 5? He's like, that don't count because that was a charge. I'm like, no, dog, you got dunked on.
Block, baby, all day.
God damn you, YouTube.
Exactly, right?
As kids,
hey,
you can't, it's like
they'll
back in our day,
check,
our parents could be like, yeah, I walked uphill in the snow 4 miles. I'm like, Dad, we live in San Francisco. Yeah. There's no snow. And now, like, you can literally Google shit. You can fact check the shit out of things.
Yeah, especially when you you say something, because you don't remember a lot of stuff. You say, no, someone said, no, you didn't have 20 points. You had 19 points. And I'm just going to fact check you and let you know you lying to the public. I'm like, dude, 19, 20, what's the difference,
It's a rounding error.
Yeah.
Little joker. Don't you got homework?
Mm-hmm.
Go do your homework.
Oh, man.
We'll be right back after this quick break. Games with Names is brought to you by my friends at WynnBET. WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Boston Harbor to online sports betting. Whether you're a recreational player or some serious handicapper, WynnBET is your ticket to every exciting wager. From straight bets to parlays, teasers, and any prop bet you can dream up. All players have access to Wynn rewards and can redeem them for resort credits in Las Vegas and Boston. Sign up today and get in the game online or visit Boston Sportsbook at Encore Boston Harbor. There's no better way to enjoy sports with a little extra winnings in your pocket. Betting is a team sport. Join the WynnBET team and bet with the best.
Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
1-800-522-4700. Let's get into these Spurs.
These Spurs, man, another heck of a team. Started out super hot, 16 in the first 20 games, ended up winning 50 of their first 65. Tim battled a little bit of injury down the stretch, missed 12 of the last 16 games, but battled back. That ankle injury was nagging. This was the team with Parker, Horry, Bruce Bowen, Big Shot Bob, Ginobili. This was kind of Ginobili's coming out party. First year he was an all-star. Really came into his own. Picked up Nazir Muhammad in the mid-season, which was big down the stretch.
Yeah,
another big body to help Tim out there. All-stars, Ginobili and Duncan, Pop, of course. This was, middle of the dynasty. One in 99, and then 03, and now we're going for the second in 3 years.
It's crazy. So you go from Lake Show, with Coach Jackson, and Kobe and Shaq, and then you go to Pop, and you got Duncan. What's that culture like? How is that like going from a team that you guys probably hated, and B, similar pillar type organizations that have superstars that run the league?
So it'll be like going from a city with big lights to a small country town.
Yeah, remember in the Alamo. You got to remember it.
It's just how it is. You think about all the flash, you got all these celebrities. You look up Halle Berry's over there. You look up there, Gwyneth Paltrow's over there. You got all these stars. Denzel's coming up to you saying, "Yo, man, y'all suck tonight. You need to get it going." And then you get the
Denzel. He motivating.
Oh yeah. You get to San Antonio. You got Tommy Lee over there who don't say nothing. But it's a big difference in the culture as far as what you have access to. Pop controls San Antonio. He wouldn't let you do anything that if it wasn't a part of their organization. I used to do a clinic, a basketball clinic, and they were HEB sponsor, and I had Walmart. He got mad at me because he says, HEB is our sponsor. They ain't got shit to do with me. I'm doing this for the kids, and this is who my sponsor is. And they literally got mad at me because I'm like, if you want to donate $50,000 to my charity, let's go and let's do it. And then they were like, no, go ahead and do your thing. And so he had so much control of that town, and the players were just very disciplined. You think about it, the culture, we always talk about culture in sports. You got Pop, military. You got David Robinson, who's military. Those were the two C's that really started that franchise.
You kind of come military.
Yeah. And you get these guys, and Tim Duncan is just, he's a product of his environment. He's very disciplined. He doesn't want to do much. If it ain't about video games, cars, or poker, he don't want nothing to do with it. I think basketball is probably fourth on that list. Yeah. And so he's just that type of individual where he's just going to lock in and do this. And Manu was like that. Tony was the only one that was kind of like a wild child.
Tony?
Because when he started dating Eva, it was like, hold on, we don't want the spotlight on us. And now you're dating Eva Longoria. That's more of a spotlight. And Pop was like, he didn't really like it too much, but you can't get in the way of love. And then you got Bruce, who was that type of guy. It was the culture. It was who he brought in. It's how he wanted it. And he controlled the narrative so much. That's why the teams were so good, because he put his stamp on the team. As far as Phil's like, hey, we're going to run the triangle. We're going to do it this way. We can be disciplined enough to run the system like it's supposed to. And
we do yoga.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk our feelings.
Yeah. But there's no difference in, when you get to the great coaches, they're all very structured. And you believe in them and you believe in their system, so you kind of do what you need to do. And if you get a wild child, you kind of, next thing you know, they kind of either out the door or they're at the end of the bench.
That's so similar to what I lived in. Yeah. Because if you think about it, we were in Foxborough, which is it's a town.
Yeah.
You have Boston, you have Providence, but most of the guys, everyone lived in Foxborough, Plainville, which is right there. Mm-hmm. It's very small towny, and I just wonder if Pop and Belichick, they sound eerily similar.
They probably are.
I wonder if they talk.
You know, they probably do. They kind of look alike sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, the messed up hair and don't give a shit how they
Yeah.
look. Just dress whatever. I think the best thing for Pop was the fact that we got that the coaches now don't have to wear suits.
Yeah.
Because that's just the San Antonio culture. You know, they never wanted to wear suits. They just want to, do their job and go home.
I hate the quarter zipification, man. I hate the quarter zips. We
You
got to
hate
get back
them?
to suits. I'm doing deep dives on Alabama basketball. I'm seeing Wimp Sanderson wearing the sickest plaid sport coat of all time, and now I got quarter zip universe over here.
Yeah.
Everywhere I look.
You got to think about it, man. I tell you right now, for a coach on that hardwood with them dress
I know.
shoes in a suit, man, for 2 hours, what is it, 2 hours, 2.5 hours for
Yeah.
a basketball game? I mean, some of the sorest I've ever been is when preseason games and you just stand in some shitty shoes or some cleats, because you're not playing,
Yeah.
and you stand for 3 hours. I'll tip my hat to coaches in the fucking dress shoes.
Hey,
I
that's-
love the
That's why
discomfort.
most coaches that are smart, they sit down.
Yeah.
They just sit there. You see now all these coaches want to stay on the sideline.
Young.
I'm like, why you
Young
standing on the
coach.
sideline? Just go sit down. You in the damn way.
Young coach.
Yeah.
Are the pop dinners as legendary as people say they are?
If it's gnocchi, lobster gnocchi, and wine. He loves his wine. He loves his gnocchi. And those dinners we would go to those dinners and I'm like, fuck, gnocchi again, man. Dude, everybody doesn't like what you like.
Yeah.
And so I was always make friends with whoever the chef, like, hey, man, can you bring me a Kettle One tonic? Bring me a something, and then bring me a steak. And I will always try to find a way around what he wanted, So he got to a point where he was like, just order what you want, guys. It's on me. And don't ever do that. I was like, yo, man, bring me some of that Louis out here.
Now, he did that just to build the team. He was trying to build.
He just loved doing it,
Yeah.
because he it's his team, team building. But I think to me, it was more so to keep us together.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got a team. You got to worry about keeping us together. Now, this was the Lakers. We'd be all over the place. But this team, everybody wanted to do stuff together. We wanted to go to movies together. We wanted to go to comedy shows together. We just did a lot of stuff together.
So that's the difference between the dynasties. And Lakers,
Yeah.
They were out and about doing
Yeah.
their thing in Tinseltown, Hollywood. Oh, Hollywood's good.
Yeah.
And then, you're going to comedy shows over in
Yeah.
San Antonio. Is that the biggest difference between the dynasties?
That's the biggest difference. Because if you really think about it, you think about the dynamics. You had a really good guard in Ginobili and Kobe. You had a really good big in Tim and Shaq. And then you had really, like, Bruce Bourne's pretty much our Rick Fox, and I was me on both teams. So you look at the cultures,
Tight.
you
He
have
was him on both teams.
you kind of have mirror images of everybody, but they have this one probably better in this aspect and vice versa. But I just think when you look at this era of basketball, you always had something centered around a really good big. And for me, even though everybody now looks at the model that Golden State put out there and they're winning all their championships, and everybody tries to emulate that now. Back then it was emulate, Dream, emulate Patrick Ewing, Shaq, Tim Duncan's, all these legendary bigs. And now it's all about legendary guards and not realizing there's only been one team that's won with legendary guards outside of the Bulls. But they had Scottie Pippen, who he's a guard, but everybody wants to emulate Golden State Warriors. I'm like, it only happened because you got the two best shooters of all time on one team. And if you have that, you can do it because, Milwaukee won it big. Lakers won it big. Look at Denver won it big.
Yeah.
You got to have a dominant big to win this game and be. Yeah, but every now and then you have a lucky guy like the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, I like seeing them do well.
Yeah.
I like seeing them, but it's not my squad anymore.
Yeah, but they still have a good big in Draymond Green. So that's
Draymond,
what-
dude, he's the stir that stirs that thing.
Yeah,
he's the straw that stirs the drink. That's what the saying is.
But when it comes to basketball, I think you always have to have someone with a little nasty in them that's not afraid to like talk trash, elbow someone in the mouth or something like that, because you have to have that to try to intimidate people.
Got to. You got to. We got any Kobe stories before we go to our next segment?
I just think for me, when you talk about hard workers, you hear the stories and you hear what he's doing, and you appreciate everything. But the thing he had that nobody ever told me, he had a thirst for knowledge.
That's what I always say.
Yeah. He has. I mean, and you can talk about football, basketball, the piano, movies, music,
language.
He had a thirst for everything. I remember when we were on the plane coming from somewhere, and we were playing spades, and he's sitting there like this, just looking because he wanted to learn how to play spades. I'm like, dude, I said, you black, you supposed to know how to play spades, dude. He's like, I said, see, this is what happened when you don't go to college. You don't have downtime when you have to play spades.
He's also in Italy and shit.
Yeah,
one of the weird lives.
And it was just weird that I taught him how to play spades, but I'm gonna back this thing up. And the first moment I ever met Kobe, I had just got traded to the Lakers, and we had just finished a shoot around. And this shoot around, this dude going like 100 miles per hour. I'm like, dude, this is a shoot around. Calm down. I gotta get better. I said, you're not gonna get better when we're walking and you're running. So after practice, he comes over. I thought he's gonna, just wanted to get to know me. He was like, so how was Dream? He wanted to know how Dream was, how Dream footwork was, what kind of work he put in. And then he wanted to know about Vernon's defense because, Vernon was one of the ones that was known to guard Michael Jordan the best. He just wanted to know, he's just picking my brain about everybody I played with because he's like, you're a champion. Tell me how it was. I'm like sitting there, and we literally sat out the practice for like 45 minutes, just talking about my 2 championships with the Rockets and how it was and how we won and all that kind of stuff. He was just amazed at, learning Dream's footwork.
That is such a perfect way. I didn't know him, but he came and spoke to our team. And we used to have guys all the time come in, speak in the off season, come speak to the team. And that's exactly what I think about when I think of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Knowledge thirsty.
Yes.
He and how diversified his interests were.
Yes.
And the killer instinct that he had. Those are the 3 things. Because he was asking, we broke up into some groups, and a couple of us sat with them and talked, and he was asking us just as many questions as we were asking him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he loved winning.
Yes.
He just wanted to win. He wanted to do anything it took, just from the 2 hours that I got to spend around him.
Yeah, and I think his intensity was too intense for a lot of people, especially in the basketball world. Because if you go back, there's a lot of people that didn't like him because they didn't understand him. He's like, he had that philosophy is like most people from the 90s had. Like, I don't want to be your friend. I'm not trying to go hang out with you. I'm trying to kick your butt. And that's the one thing that I appreciate about what Giannis said. Now, he says, I'm not trying to be anybody's friend. You can come play with me, and then I'll be your friend. But other than that, I don't want to be your friend because if I got to punch you in the mouth, I got to punch you in the mouth. And that's the attitude you got to have. And I don't know how it is with you guys. I couldn't do with you guys. At the end of the game, you go out there and you shake hands with everybody. I can't do that shit unless I played with him in college. I ain't doing that.
It's definitely changed.
Yeah.
And Brady went on record a couple days ago saying that, how it's changed like that. I remember I hated the New York Jets when I first got there. I remember Bart Scott getting in my fucking offensive coordinator, Billy O'Brien's face and saying, fuck you, white boy. Literally this close.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, Billy O's motherfucking him. I was like, these people, we really hate this team.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to hating someone. And just a lot of messes that, but that's competition.
Yeah.
And speaking of messes, let's segue to how we clean up messes.
Uh-oh.
We have the Bounty Wingman Question of the day. Because when you have a mess, you know how to clean up the mess with the Bounty paper towel. Can you bring them in here, Sam, so we have this Wingman Question segment?
These aren't one of those wings that are so hot where you going to test me.
We don't do that. Here, take one of these.
Thank you, sir.
Keep you clean. It'll keep you clean. And it's time for the Bounty Wingman Question. Bounty is everyone's favorite wingman because you can't have football without wings, and you can't have wings without Bounty. We got the wings. Let's try these wings. We got the blue cheese.
Did you make
for
these yourself?
That's yours, huh?
Did you make these yourself?
So my question for you is, who is someone from your career you consider your wingman? Someone you knew that when they were on the court or even without them, you could always be like, you knew where they're at. Who's your wingman?
From the Rockets, I had really 2 wingmen. It was Sam Cassell because we were, same age, came in the league at the same time. But when I know if I'm getting ready to get into a fight or some pushing and shoving is going to be there, Vernon Maxwell right there behind you.
Yeah.
To probably take over the fight for you.
You got always a guy that you bring into the alley.
Yeah. And then when I got to the Lakers, It was more so Rick Fox. Rick Fox was my wingman.
Rick.
Yeah.
Is he not too pretty to be a wingman?
No, Rick is.
I mean,
Rick is feisty, man. You forget him. And,
I know, but your wingman's supposed to.
But and then you got to think about if you're going out in town, who better than have a pretty boy with you, man?
I guess
you get their attention. And the crazy part is his ex-wife, my ex-wife, when we were married, are best friends now still today because he and I were wingmen. Yeah. So and then they get to Spurs. It was Bruce Bowen. We sat next to each other on the plane. Same age kind of. So we just kind of hung out. So those are my wingmen. So it's different when you have three different teams. For me, it's you always kind of gravitate towards people who have the same work ethic as you, who come from similar backgrounds.
Without a doubt. Well, I wouldn't say that because some of my wingmen, we didn't have the same backgrounds, but we definitely had the same values. Matthew Slater. I had different kind of wingmans. You have wingman for like if you need some holiness or some loving up, or you need some to feel good. That was Matthew Slater. If I'm going out for a little mischief, if I'm gonna have a little crazy night, my wingman's Danny Amendola. And if I need some production and I need that rock, my wingman's Brady. I gotta go with Brady. Bounty and Wings, my favorite duo, and that was the Bounty Wingman question. What a delicious wing, and even cleaner face because of Bounty.
Yeah, it gets in your beard, right?
Yeah.
So when you and Danny ever went out, did they ever get y'all confused?
No, that's pretty racist, dude. Okay,
it's a height thing, man. It's a height thing.
Yeah. No, honestly, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing. Oh, you fucking racist, dude. Just two small white guys.
Yeah.
It's funny because it'll either be they mix you up with Welker, Amendola, or me.
But think about it, the three of y'all together was just great.
We didn't.
Y'all
we all
just,
didn't.
I know you didn't play together, but I'm just saying y'all just the things y'all were able to do is just pure like will and greatness to me, and the precision y'all used to do it, and the way that y'all used to just put your bodies on the line was like I can do that shit.
You could if it was your field. If mom would have let you play football, you would have done it.
Man, I got too much area to hit, man. No, I ain't doing that.
We all seen Antonio Gates, basketball guys. Man, they can go out there and they can ball. But the funny thing is, you said Sam Cassell. Sammy's my boy.
Is he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Me, Amendola, one day. Because Sam, we linked up one time and we brought him out over to the bungalow over in Santa Monica. He was coaching, I think, and we had a crazy day at the bungalow, and we've stayed in contact ever since. But now he's in Boston.
He's
coaching.
in Boston, yeah.
He just hit me up, but Sam's a
I
man.
love Sam. Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Yeah, we lived across the street from each other when we first got to the Rockets. We used to drive to practice together. We used to complain about Rudy T not running no plays for us together. We did a lot of stuff. You gotta have a
guy to complain with.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my Matthew Slater. Where you're sitting there like, fuck these coaches, man. They didn't give me no plays. Yeah. Jackie, set up the stage of this game.
All right, leading it up, as we mentioned earlier, before this game, this is Game 5. We're tied 2-2. We stressed on the importance of a Game 5 in these kind of series. 17 of the last 23 winners of Game 5 go on to win the series. That is true in this instance as well. Each game leading up to Game 5 was decided by double digits, which was kind of a surprise given this was a battle of two defensive-minded teams, two top 5 defenses, pretty evenly matched.
That's the day where defense wins championships, offense sells tickets.
Amen. Which was it was surprising that all these games were double digits. So people were kind of waiting for that one game. Turned out to be Game 5, where it was going to be neck and neck overtime, down to the wire. The game before this, Game 4, was a 31 ugly 102-71 loss for the Spurs. Pop called it the worst half of basketball he's seen an NBA playoff team play. So I can only imagine how that went after that game, Robert.
Freaking Pop.
It was weird after that game. Pop was like, he came in and says, we just got our ass kicked. Forget about it. Let's prepare for tomorrow. Go get some rest, and we're gonna go on to the next one. It's like, and as a player, when you get your ass kicked, you got it. And the coach can come in there and say, because you're already pissed, especially in a situation like this. Game 4, you should have won this game. You thought you should have won the game, but We just got to ask him. So you know what? Wash it. And the worst thing they ever do to someone is beat them like that.
Yeah.
Because the next game, you're going to be really pissed off. So it's that added motivation.
And this was tough because, as Robert was saying earlier, this was back in the days of 2-3-2. So you just get your ass kicked there. You're hoping to go home. These days, you go back to your place, you win Game 5. But we're still in Auburn Hills here, so this was a tough turnaround before Game 5. Also noted that the series prior to this went 7 games. So Detroit was kind of coming off a short rest. They only had 2 days rest before the series started. So some say maybe that's why they dropped the first 2. But I mean, quick rest, they got right back into it. This was also the first meeting of 2 NBA prior champions since '87, Celtics Lakers, in this matchup. But yeah, getting into this is all kind of leading up to Game 5.
Man, so I just want to know, what's the mindset going into finals for your team going into this? Because you're playing the champs from the year before, but you guys were kind of, I mean, you're a champ. You've been champing all your career, but you guys were kind of in that process of becoming a team that had that dynasty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, what's the mindset going into it as a team, and then individually for you, someone who's played in every other year is in a fucking championship? So what made, what were the mindsets?
The mindset is to clear your mind of all the outside noise. And what I mean by that is not think about tickets, not think about, your parents, your wife, your kids, because you can get off track. I know that sounds weird. You think about your kids, but you just say, when you have a partner that's really good, just like, I got you. This is the most important time in your career. I got everything. If anything pops up that I think you need to be involved in, I'll let you know. But you clear your mind. So your only focus is basketball. And that's one thing about what Pop was really good about. He was good at showing you not to do this, not do that, block out this, block out that. So the only thing you need to do is basketball. And I kind of already knew that, though, before coming into the situation. I learned that, dealing with, the Rockets and the Lakers and 5 championships before this one. And so you learn how to block out the noise. And my whole thing was, I used to always take a moment and just kind of meditate and do visualization. That was my key, where I vision the ball going in, locking this up, playing this role defensively, thinking about what my opponent has to do and going over the plays. And these were all things that, I would do personally. And then that, and I would tell like Tim, like, dude, I'd be in his ear like, Rasheed kicks your ass, man. Little motivating things like that. And I would go to Ginobili, yo, man, just play wild and fierce, but under control. And you looking at me like, what? I said, play wild and fierce, but under control. When I say under control, I mean, if it's not 100% sure you can get that pass to a guy, don't throw it. And it's like, okay, I got you. And you had to and some of the guys you would talk to, Tony just played under control. I love Tony. You didn't really have to say much to him. So there was all these things that within the game that we had to do to prepare. But it was a hell of a series.
People don't realize that. The distractions that come with going into a championship series for you guys, for a game for us. That was the thing, like as soon as you made to the Super Bowl, we'd have that week off and you go into, you had to deal with tickets, getting the hotels for your family, friends, getting all that situated in the first 2 days so you could literally do everything you could to win the game. Because this is one thing Belichick used to tell us. He goes, if you want to go out and have fun with your family, this, that, and you lose the game, it ain't going to be a good memory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You do all this, it's for the festivities are for your family. You go out and win, you're going to have the greatest memory of your life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So put everything that you can control, your blinders on, do extra of the little things so you can go out and play fast, free, and subconsciously like dialed for the game. You know what I mean? And it's crazy to hear you talk about visualization, because I used to do that every day. With I do these ball drills off the walls to get my eyes right for the day. So for reactions and shit. And I would always, when I was doing it, I was visualizing, catch, hit, catch, you know what I mean? Yeah. All those little things. And it's crazy how far that takes an athlete.
So did it carry over into your dreams though?
Yeah, but I had the same dream since I was like 12. I had a coach, His name was I think it was Sione Tafo. He was
it
an
a
older
soccer
guy,
coach?
huh?
Was this a soccer coach?
No, football. Tafo. He's Sione's. I think he's Pauly. And I remember he was teaching me. I was a little running back, and I remember him telling me about this. You got to use a stiff arm when you're on the sideline, stiff arm and a spin, so the guy overruns it and you can throw him by. And I had the same dream where I was at Santa Clara High School playing against Oak Grove, and I did the move and I scored. I still have that dream to this day. Like,
Seriously?
I don't know why. It's crazy.
For me, I would literally have that, and then my first wife would wake me up and like, you're doing it again. When I'm literally playing a game, and we literally have to get up and change the sheets because I would literally be sweating like I played a game. It was the weirdest thing ever, and that shows you how powerful the mind is. If you can, believe it, achieve it, and see it, you can do it. So it was like crazy how like, okay, then I go out another game. Like, that's when I had those dreams like that, I usually shot the ball really good the next game because my mind just took over. So, yeah.
So it's a back and forth night.
Yeah.
All night.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any of the big game adjustments from Pop at halftime or anything?
No, the only big game adjustment was me at halftime because I think I was 0 for 3 or 0 for 4. I sucked in the first half.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the corner, and I like to always put my locker in the corner during the playoffs. So, no distraction even from my teammates with guys listening to their music or, talking on the phone. I was literally over there talking to myself. And I could see Bruce Bowen kind of look at me because I was like saying, yo, Rob, you fucking suck tonight. You supposed to be Big Shot Bob. You fucking terrible. I'm telling myself that. I said, you got to get going. If y'all don't win this game, you might lose. And Bruce is looking at me like, this dude going crazy, right? And so I rarely do that. And then I did that. And then next thing you know, I come out in the second half and I just ball out because you have to play those mind tricks with yourself sometimes. You have to talk yourself into a moment. And I talked myself to one of the greatest moments in NBA history as far as dropping 21 with no plays called for you and not being the main cog in the machine. So I just feel like, okay, I did what I needed to do to get me over that hump.
Talking yourself into moments, folks. Kids, talk yourself into moments. As Bruce Lee used to say, when you say negative things in your mind, I don't know the actual quote, but I've seen it on Instagram. But it stays there. Yeah. It stays there.
And it all boils down to what Rob said before this game in the presser. There are a lot of people talk the talk. We got to go out there and walk the walk.
You gotta take us. You gotta take us. Okay, they're back and forth. But we're here to talk about one thing. Take us through the last shot, beat by beat.
Well, we're sitting on the play was actually for Manu Ginobili. It wasn't for me. I was supposed to inbound it to Manu and then set a pick and roll for him so he can get to the rack. And so I'm seeing him come off the pick from Tim, and I was like, okay, the only pass I can do is a bounce pass because that's the only way I can get. So I bounce pass. And bounce passes I hate, but sometimes you have. And when I bounced it, Rashid kind of looked at him like, oh, he's really close. So he went for the trap. And so I just stepped in. And I was on fire, so I wasn't going to try to put it on the floor to create for anyone. So I took the shot. And after I was watching, I didn't realize Tayshaun Prince, one of the best defensive players in the game, he almost blocked the shot. But when you're so focused on your shot, you don't even see him. And then next thing you know, it rattles in and we go up. We go up and we win this game.
Man.
It's I noticed in the clip earlier that you showed Eminem up there, and I never talked trash, and Eminem was behind the bench, said, you won't be getting number 6 tonight, buddy. And I looked at him, and so I started talking trash to Eminem.
What'd you say?
I said after I hit that first, I said, you in fucking trouble now, dog. They better fucking get me. I said, it's on.
What'd he say?
He started smiling, right? He didn't say much. And then after I did this dunk on Rip, I looked at him like, told you. It's fucking over. So it was just one of those things. I never talk trash, but when someone talks trash to me, and it's Eminem, one of the greatest rappers of all time.
We all love him.
Yeah, and so I had to talk trash back to him, man. So it was a moment.
We got to rename this game. This is the Eminem game.
It's the Eminem
game. Thank you for talking shit to Big Shot Bob because it made him talk himself into a moment. He talked himself into a moment.
21 points in the last 17 minutes.
21 points in the last 17.
We also got a who's who of Michigan here tonight. Chris Webber's in the building. Jalen Rose is in the building.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders is in the building.
Barry Sanders.
Tom Izzo's in the building. Michael Moore's in the building.
We got Kid Rock.
Kid Rock
Kid
sang
Rock,
America
Kid
the
Rock.
Beautiful before the game.
Yep.
Penny Marshall, the homie, is in the building. Just to name a few. How'd you guys become tight, by the way? Lakers?
With the Lakers, my seats used to be behind Penny Marshall's seats for the Lakers, and my middle son he would always come to the court and give me a hug before the games, and then Penny would see the relationship we had. So next thing I know, 2 games later, I'm looking. He's sitting in Penny's lap eating Krispy Kreme. I'm like, what the hell going on? She's like, I just love your son. And that's the one thing about, the Lakers season ticket holders that sit on the court. Some of the nicest people you will ever meet. And if you treat them with respect, they're gonna, develop a relationship. I remember this one lady, I cannot remember her name anymore, but I fell on her during a game, and I tried to avoid her, but it's one of those ones you can't avoid. And she was an elderly lady. And every game I would go out and ask her how she's doing, So I remember like 3 games before the season, she came to me. She's like, Robert, come over. She's like, I said, how are you? She says, yeah. She says, don't you have a sick daughter? I'm like, yeah. She says, do you mind if I get your address and send you something? I'm like, sure, I don't mind. So season's over. Next thing I know, I get this big ass box on my front step. I'm like, what the heck is this? And it was from her. Apparently her husband was one of the guys who worked for Disney that died in that plane crash way, way back. And she was a part of Disney. She sent me all this Disney stuff for my kids. I mean, my kids' room was decorated in Disney. I gave out Christmas gifts for kids in the neighborhood with Disney for long, because she just sent me a whole box of stuff, man. It was just,
That's awesome.
It was just, that's what I always tell people. It's about the relationships that you make with the people. And so many guys are arrogant. They're like they're above the people that come to these games. I always, speak to fans, and I try to talk to them when I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
I'm always in a good, but you just try to form those relationships because you never know who you're talking to.
Especially with, people that you see so often. Like I had a couple, fans that became real close friends. Susan Reagan, Trish Kennedy, these ladies that like they were like our team moms.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They they always took care of us. They were always at every charity event that we were holding. And just sweet people, and that's the cool thing about sport. It's a community that allows you to learn people that you never thought you'd get to learn.
Yeah, I remember one time I got a phone call from Jack Nicholson, actually inviting me to a party. I got a call from Selma Hayek.
Did he give you a voicemail, or is his voice just sound so cool?
He has the coolest voice. He has the coolest voice.
What did he say? Hey, Rob.
He says, I have an event I want to invite you to. You come? I says, yes, I come. All right, see you there. It was a really quick conversation. It's not like he was like straight to the point. I'm like, in the back of your mind, I'm like, how the hell you get my number? And I know how Selma Hayek got my number. And it was just playing in LA. You get to meet these celebrities who are such fans of yours, and vice versa. So I say the Lakers are the best organization to play for, not just for the fact that they always win and they take care of their family, but the people you have access to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. You talked to Sheed or Chauncey?
Oh,
about the shot?
I talked to Sheed about it. Because Sheed's cool as hell. I never talked to Chauncey about it. I think me and Chauncey have a rival that he don't know about, is because he calls himself Mr. Big Shot. And I'm like, dude, really? You just can't take my name and throw Mr. on the front of it and try to make it yours.
You can't. I mean, seriously, how many rings he got?
Well, he got what, 3, 2? What do you got?
He
ain't got as many as me. That's all that counts.
Not many. No one alive other than Sir Russell.
Yeah.
Wow, Chauncey's only got 1.
I was
that
about to
one?
say the year before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chauncey only got 1.
Year before.
Yeah.
He's
He's a great player though.
Yeah, I love Chauncey. Chauncey, doing good big things with Portland right now. Chauncey and I, we have the same common really good friend, Roy Rogers, not the actor, the basketball player, and we both were in his wedding. So yeah, I love Chauncey.
Yeah,
but I'm the real Big Shot, not him.
And without a doubt. And it doesn't even sound right. Big Shot Chance, Big Shot Billups. Nah, Big Shot Bob. Bob just rolls off the tongue.
Exactly.
Amen. What about Bob? Remember that movie?
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
So-
That's the one. See, that's one thing you realize, that you watch a lot of movies when you travel a lot in the NBA.
Oh,
So
yeah.
y'all, I think y'all travel like 7 times, maybe, if that.
10.
10. Like, we traveling all the time. So I used to have just a laundry list of movies. I had my little, I don't remember what they called it, but it had all the movies on it. I just watched movies for days. Even the team used to come to like, Rob, what's good to watch? Because I'm just a movie freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of downtime at our house. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
you're at the facility for 12, 13 hours, 12 hours.
I can do that, man.
And then, you get home and there'd be a lot of video game guys, a lot of movie guys, and then you got your guys that are single and mingling.
Yeah. Because I think y'all have to be at the facility at 8 in the morning.
8, I'd get there at 5:15. I like to get my routine in
What?
before. Because I'd have to I'd get my body right. I'd get a lift in. I'd do my ball drills. I had like a routine of things that made me comfortable to go out and have my best day.
I can understand
and
that.
I saw the guys before me that were around for a long time that did that. The Troy Browns, the Toms, the Kevin Falks, the Teddy Brewskis. Like, you watch when you're a young guy and you watch the studs.
Yeah.
At least that's what I did. I watched them and I'd sit and they were always doing something to make themselves better. I didn't have a wife or I was a mercenary, bro. I was there for football.
Yeah.
Pretty much my whole career. I had my daughter, probably my 8th year, but when it was football time, everyone knew that it was football time.
Yeah. That's the thing about, you talk about the two sports, that you guys are way more, I think sometimes are way more disciplined when it comes to your craft. Because for us, it's like we have those days when you shoot the ball bad. Okay, I got to get there early and get some shots up. Because a typical day for us is, you might get there. Like, this is different for the guys like Kobe. Kobe will get there at 8 o'clock. Practice is at 11 o'clock. He gets there. Like, I will get to practice at 10 o'clock. Practice is over at 1 o'clock. I'm probably out the door by 3 o'clock. It's almost half the time you guys do, because you got meetings. We hardly ever had meetings.
When everything comes down to you performing once a week for 3 hours, you have to make sure you get every kind of thing, tendency, film, that like you dial and put your eggs all in that one basket. You can't afford to slip a game.
Yeah.
Every game, there's only 17 now. There were 16 when I was playing. Every game means something, which in basketball, you guys could go and you guys have a couple off nights in Miami or something, but you got 86 more. You know what I mean?
No, the 82 game season, you drop one game, you can make it up on a team like that someone's injured, or you just like have one of those hot shooting nights. So, yeah.
So the final score, 96-95. They couldn't. There was a 1 second left. They couldn't do anything. You go on. You get the ship. You get your 6th ring. How come you guys couldn't go back to back?
People in San Antonio get mad at me for telling this story, so I'm going to tell it. So, that's the year the Dallas Mavericks won it.
Yeah.
So we playing Dallas. We're up 3 in game 7. We up 3. We says, don't foul. If they get a layup, fine, take it out. So Dirk has it. He goes to the hole. Manu fouls him. And 1. Goes to the free throw line, makes the free throw. We go into overtime. We lose. And so they go on to win that championship. And if Manu doesn't foul, we win that game. We win game 7. We go on and win that series. We go on to the finals. So
Bob,
did
you not give him the sit down before the game? Was it not because it wasn't a final where you got to play fast, hard, 100%? But if the pass isn't there,
we literally said, do not foul in the huddle. We
have a translator. Maybe we needed Spanish.
I know it.
They say Spanish different in Argentina. It's like calle, not calle. Maybe we.
Yeah. So and then people get mad at me, but like, I'm not blaming Manu Ginobili for that. I'm not blaming him for that. But I'm just saying, if we win that game, we three-peat. So I'm sitting here at 8-time championship, and Brady is still 1 to go to catch me.
Come on, Tommy. Tommy, you got to come on a podcast. You got to come back, dude.
Yeah.
Now, what's your best championship parade story? Is it from here? Is it from L.A.? Is it from where is it?
Houston. I would have to say Houston, and the only reason I'm gonna say Houston is because we went back to back. I ain't gonna lie, I got so hammered that night after that game. You think about it, we swept the Orlando Magic. We went back to back, a 6 seed. I'm hammered. I wake up in some girl's apartment. It was my buddy's girlfriend. I wake up in an apartment. I'm like on the floor under a tree. I think I'm literally outside. And I look at my, this is before cell phones. So I look at my watch. It was 11 o'clock. The parade starts at 11 o'clock. So literally, if people look at the parade, the second parade, it was held up because I didn't make it there on time. You talk about not being on time. But I had to go home, shower, explain to my fiance what happened, and she looking at me cross-eyed, and she was like, and then we went to the parade, and I was so hungover on the parade. I'm like this on the fire truck waving at people. I was just that's the memorable. The LA one was nice too, though, to see all the fans come out for LA and see Mark Madsen dance. It was bananas for that because I grew up a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
And to be able to finally bring a championship to the Lakers after having great years in the form, having 4 All-Stars, getting swept by all the drama that we had, and then be in the new building, the Staples Center, and bring that championship back to LA, it was an amazing feeling. There are two different, reasons why you love certain things, and when you win championship, on multiple teams, there's always a factor for everything. But the San Antonio ones, I hate to say this, was kind of boring because we just went around the Riverwalk. You know what I mean? And the fans, the San Antonio fans are bananas and freaks, but I want to be able to look not up at fans, look down on the fans. Not I don't mean that in a bad way, because you can throw them shirts and stuff like that, and it's a better interaction. Yeah. It's in San Antonio, you're in the middle of the Riverwalk. And the people up here, and they can't throw bees and confetti on you because you can't pollute the Riverwalk. So that's what I mean by that. So because I have to be careful what I say because people in San Antonio always feel like I'm just bashing them when I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a little different. My parade moments are going down Boylston on a duck boat, almost getting hit in the head with a beer, catching a couple, chugging them, throwing them. I mean, it's so crazy the parades. I used to treat them like Ferris Bueller Day Off, bro. I was on top of the fucking floats. And
Did you have your shirt off?
A couple times, I think. It was like 20 degrees.
That's the thing now. Every parade now, every athlete has to take their shirt off and show off their body. Like, look at me. I got a 6-pack, 8-pack. I'm ripped.
No, I didn't have my shirt off. But I was in a T-shirt. It definitely shouldn't have been T-shirt weather.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into this. Where does Pop rank among greatest coaches of all time? Is it Pop or is it Coach Jackson?
You know what? It's
different.
They're different but the same. The fact that Phil wasn't a yeller. He wouldn't yell at you. Pop will yell at you, and that's the difference in them. But they all emphasize defense and doing your job. Yeah. Be responsible for you, number one, then be responsible for the team. And I think those are the two things that you can compare them with. And they had a control of the team, and they had a respect from the team, because once you coach great players that guys view as great ones, and you win a championship with those great ones, you're going to get the ultimate respect for us. And for me, though, it's like I look at them, and everybody wants you to always pick one. I says, why do I have to pick just one? You know what I mean? I love both of them, but but it's weird though. I never had a relationship with either one of those guys though. I had a relationship with Rudy T when I played with the Rockets, but neither one of those guys, because that was more so on my end, because I had such a great relationship with Rudy T, and when they traded me to Phoenix, I felt like that was a stab in the back. Yeah. So I never wanted to have a relationship with coaches anymore. It went from personal / business to just straight business. Yeah.
It's hard. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why some coaches, you could say, are like that with certain players. Yeah. The straight business, because they know there's going to be a time where feelings get involved.
And for me, you it's a business from day one because you're getting paid for it. And you shouldn't people get their feelings involved. And I had to say, all right, on the flip end of this, what would you do if this was your business and you had an employee who wasn't living up to your expectations? Would you keep him around just because you love him?
Yeah.
Or would you put him out to pasture? And that's just how, sports is. You got to understand. It's a business. You're going to make money. The reason these guys own these teams, these billionaires, because they're no nonsense type of guys.
Yeah.
And so you got to take it like that.
It is a production business.
Mm-hmm.
What's more impressive, winning 7 rings with one team or 7 rings with 3 teams?
I'll be honest. I think if you can win 7 rings with one team in this era, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about the turnover and the other teams trying to build their team to beat you. There's so many teams that you say, okay, I'm going to have this guy just for Shaq. So I need another foul. I had to foul. Because you look at the way the Sacramento Kings were built.
Yeah.
They had like 2 guys that sat on the bench, didn't play all year until they played the LA Lakers to beat up Shaq.
Yeah.
And this teams do that because it's a reality. Like when you sit down, like right now in the NBA, everybody's like, we need to find a way to beat Jokic. That's what every team is saying. Because he's such a dominant player on the offensive end, the defensive end. We need to beat Jokic. Before it was how to beat Curry, but now it's how to beat Jokic because he's on top of the ground, on top of the hill. So that's what every team does. They try to figure out how to beat you. And for you to win that many championships in a row, that means everything everybody threw at you was able to dodge it and get to your mountaintop. So I say 7, but don't get me wrong. Now, 7 championships in general is hard to win.
Yeah. So with the constant turnover of teams now and the parity in the league and new guys coming, is anyone ever going to get 7 rings again?
I don't believe so. And I think, I thought it would be LeBron, but I don't think it's going to be LeBron now. I hope so because that means the Lakers win championships. That means, I get another ring because I'm part of the Lakers staff. But I don't think, and if you look at Steph, unless he goes to another team, and I don't think he will because of the loyalty factor there, I don't see it. And there's nobody else that's even, close to that. I think LeBron and Steph are the only ones that have 4 rings. Then that means they got to win in 3 more years. So
Potentially Wemby?
They ain't even gonna make the playoffs.
What's your thoughts on Wemby?
I think he's an incredible player. But he's young. But my MVP, my rookie of the year is Chet Holmgren, because he's basically what Wemby was last year as far as physicality. He was that skinny.
Yeah.
But because he got hurt, he was able to get in the weight room, put some weight on, and start understanding the NBA game. So I think in about 3 to 4 years, he's going to be a beast to contend with because he's so skilled. He's able to block shots from 40 feet away. So it's just going to be amazing what he's able to do once he gets a little weight and a little bit more NBA knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I've only watched him a couple times, and you can definitely see, the Euro game and the finesse, and, he can make every shot and do all that. But I was watching, I don't know who it was, but there was some dude about 7 inches smaller than him, manhandling him.
De'Aaron Fox, I know exactly what you're talking about.
De'Aaron
Fox pushed him so far out of the box, and then he traveled on top of that instead of just putting the ball up and turning around looking at him. And
but he'll learn
that.
We got to all remember the kid's 19.
Yes.
He's 18. He's a fucking little boy.
He can't even buy beer yet.
He can't even. I bet you he might get 3 more inches.
Yeah. And it's so weird. Just think about it. He can still grow and he can get stronger. I just hope he stays healthy. Because
that's the thing with when you start getting big.
Yeah.
Human bodies aren't supposed to be doing that. Especially with shoes and stuff. The feet, the feet for the big guys always scare me.
Yeah.
Because you guys are on that hard surface, and I had a lot of foot problems.
You had a lot of foot problems?
Yeah, I broke both my feet.
Wow.
Just from, overcutting and cutting so hard. And
I was very fortunate. I only had I have 2 injuries to keep me out for a long period of time. I strained my MCL, and then I had a virus to attack my heart, which gave me extra beats. So I missed a total of like 3 weeks for that and like 5 weeks for my knee.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how hard that is to stay that healthy.
But it was all from training in the off season to prepare your body for that grind, man.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to. Mm-hmm. We got to get into scoring the game real quick.
Oh, we got a couple quick stat corrections here.
Oh, did I miss anything, Jackie? My bad.
You were born March 22nd, 1986.
Oh, I was born May 22nd, but yeah.
May 22nd. Jeez,
Hold on
Louise.
now. He don't know
Now
when
I'm
he was born.
drunk. 86 is the year. 86.
Played football for a long time.
Too many hits to the head.
Oh, my God. Kobe dropped 81 in 06, not 05.
Oh.
On the Vernon Maxwell incident, February 7th, 1995. Rockets, Blazers at the old Memorial Coliseum. Vernon went in the crowd, and the infamous quote, he said, "Kiss my ass, motherfucker," to this guy. He went for him. He ended up getting suspended 10 games.
It was 10 games?
Fined $20,000. The fans sued him for $4.5 million. It was settled out of court, so we don't know. We don't know the exact figures there.
I didn't even know that the
That's
fans
some bullshit.
sued him.
Yeah,
But
it's a bum move.
But the part would set Vernon off. Vernon's daughter was stillborn, and so he had a tattoo of her on his arm. And I remember I was sitting at the end of the bench, and I could hear the fans say, "Who's that bitch on your arm?"
Oh, my God.
And all I see was Vernon go cross past me. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I went up there to get him. So it was like, and I hate when I don't know. I would love to know what that situation happened, how much he got, and it was settled out of court. Did David Stern step in and whatnot?
Yeah, same.
Hey, there's a big difference in saying it to someone's face and behind a keyboard. I stick to behind the keyboard, boys. These guys are getting the gridiron. Jokers are coming up for you.
Bro, also in the crowd that night, Jerry Seinfeld and Bill Gates. So they were lucky it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld
He
in
probably
Portland.
has some dope ass shoes on. He's a sneaker junkie, low key. If you watch him,
was.
he got a bunch of cool sneakers.
Yeah.
If you watch his show,
Well, he's a Superman guy.
He does
he
love
Superman
Superman.
guy?
Yeah, Superman.
Love Superman.
Superman was in every episode, somewhere in every episode. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Yeah. He's obsessed with the Mets and Superman.
Yeah,
I used to be a Mets fan.
Really?
Yeah. I was
You
a
know,
big Gary Carter fan. Yeah.
I love the Giants, but also I was gonna get into it's cool to like people that have good imaginations and like superheroes. Batman's real. Batman is real.
He's the only one that didn't have powers, right?
He didn't have no powers. He had a bunch of gadgets and tools.
Tony Stark didn't have any powers either.
I like Tony Stark too, though.
Yeah. Just his brain. That's his superpower.
Any guy that's hella rich with cool toys, that's me. I want that. Let's score this game. What's the name of this game? The Eminem Game?
Might need to be.
Eminem pissing off Big Shot Bob. What's a good jingle? I need a good jingle.
I think the Eminem game sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
The Eminem Game. We got to get him on Games with Names. So this is Score the Game presented by WynnBET. We go through and we score all the games that we've done with our guests, and then we go and see where it lays on the chart of our games. So stakes.
So I have to be honest, is what you're saying.
You got to be honest. You got to be honest. Stakes 0 to 10, decimals okay. 1 to 10.
This game had to be a 10, man.
10?
Yeah. Because you got to think about it, this is game 5, one of the pivotal games. You one win away from winning a championship.
I mean, we did see game 5. What's the stat, Jackie?
17 out of the last 23 win it. It's very important in a 7-game series.
Kyler, why were you shaking your head on the 10?
Kyler's more game 7 is what deserves a 10. So if
I
you look at
can't
the
go
numbers don't lie.
I think I only played in 1 game 7 in the finals, 2 game 7s in the finals.
None in this playoffs
The Knicks,
besides this.
The Knicks played I'm talking about NBA finals. The Knicks, we went game 7, and this one went game 7. Because with the Lakers, we never went game 7. We swept the Orlando Magic, and then we swept the Nets. We lost 1 game against the Phillies. We won games 6 against the Pacers. I only been to game 7, and then we swept the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2007. So think I've been part of 3 sweeps in the finals.
Well, then
He never lost in the finals.
he gets 10. That's a 10,
I
folks.
give it a 10.
So that's why I hardly ever make it to game 7. So that's why I get us a 10.
You got 7. It goes a long way.
Should I go 9.9 to make it better? Let's go 9.9.
Ooh,
9.9.
Wow. All right.
I've been pressured into it.
Pure pressure, star power. We went over the stars.
You-
Teams, crowd, everything.
Well, you got to understand, that star power is Michigan star power. And for me, it didn't mean crap that those guys did. Only star power to me was Eminem.
Yeah.
Maybe Barry. I love Barry.
Love Barry.
And so everybody else in the Izzo, Michigan State, who really cares about that?
Yeah, it's college.
Yeah.
It's for the boys.
So I'm going to say this star power is like a 6.
6.
No, yeah, 5.
that.
I'm gonna drop it down to a 5. Because you
5.
gotta realize, a regular season game in a Laker uniform, we have all of that.
A Michigan A-lister is like an LA C-lister. Yeah, like,
I mean, Eminem was at the top of the crown right here at this time.
it's true. We'll give it
Yeah.
to him. He had his shirt off in the crowd, I saw. He was doing the P.D. Pablo, twisting around his head. He was wild.
You know P.D. Pablo?
Oh, I'm from North Carolina, man.
Okay. North Kakalaki.
Yeah.
All right.
He is revered in North Carolina.
What's the gameplay 1 to 10?
Gameplay,
shot.
Went into overtime, so I'm gonna have to get this I'm gonna have to get this a 10 because it was overtime. It was on the court, their court, and then you had some guy by the name of Big Shot Bob that just lit the ass up. So I had to get this one a 10.
The real big shot.
And he had to manifest it. He had to talk himself into a moment because of Eminem. The name of the game is the Eminem Game. What is 0 to 10? What is the score?
I gotta get at an 8. I'm gonna get at an 8.
8.
8.
8 straight.
Yeah, 8 straight. The Eminem Game. It'd been better if it was Big Shot Bob's Bombers. Something like that.
We can change
like that.
No.
We can change it.
I'm just kidding.
You might be giving too much to M.
No.
How many
because
Grammys does M have right now?
I love
Mom
Eminem.
spaghetti.
I love
How many
Eminem.
Grammys does M have? He
me
probably
look.
got like 15.
Eminem is he's one of the greatest rappers, man.
8-2. Where does it go onto the board? These are all the games we've done.
So rank number 1. Okay. Number 2.
That's because we had Mark Cuban in here and he screwed up our whole system. He gave everything a 10.
And Rob.
And Rob, yeah.
Rob Riggle just gave everything straight 10s.
Aaron, 1999 Women's World Cup final. Okay, yeah.
So this one's right between
The Bush Push.
this one's right between that 1985 AFC Championship game and the Can't Wait game with Bart Scott there and Rich Eisen.
Can't wait.
So you had
2011
Gilbert
AFC.
Arenas in here?
We had Gil in here.
Yeah.
Gil hates me.
Really?
Does he?
No, we have it's a little fun little ride because every show he likes to say, would you rather have 300 million planned or would you rather have 7 rings and only made, I think I'm just say 40 million. And I was like, wow, you want to put me out there? So I'd rather have 7 championships. No, I'd rather have the money. And so many people, especially Captain Jack says, you're a loser because you don't want to win. You just care about the money. And just the other day he had Rashid on his show and Rashid was like, I'll take the rings.
Yeah.
And he's shocked when people say they take the rings because it's what you value more. Do you value winning or you value money more? You know what I mean? So here's my question to you. Would you rather have 7 championships and make 40 million or have no championships with 300 million? And be honest.
100% 7. Because what people don't realize, if you give yourself to the game and you win everything for winning, that 40 million is going to turn way over to 300 million because of the longevity you'll always have for being a champion.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
The
what are you going to
history,
celebrate
yeah.
when you have 100 mil
Yeah.
or 300 mil?
Yeah.
You got 7 rings and things.
Yes.
It goes.
I always like, get so many
people say it all the time with me.
Yeah, so many people say, "Oh, I take the 300 million." And says, "I can buy the many rings I want," but it's like, yeah, you can buy the rings, but they don't. It's not from your hard work and your sacrifice. You know what I mean? Your dedication to the game, and getting to the upper echelon, the apex of the mountain, where only a few sit.
Oh, there's only like 3 guys that sit in that apex.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, we miss anything
I don't
from the
think-
game?
I don't from the game. Other than that, we went home and played Game 6 and lost to them, and then we won Game 7 and won the championship. And I think I started a trend then, because when we won it, my whole thing was every game I always grab the basketball. So I grabbed the basketball, and if you look at the picture, it's me and my son sitting there. So now everybody brings their sons out. They do the press conference with their son. I feel like I was one of the guys that started that because I brought my son on the court and I did everything with him. And I was just trying, because I knew my career was about to come to an end, but I wanted to share that moment with my kids. And from that, and just so many other things that go on that, from, me being the originator of small ball, back when I was with Houston, and it just, now his transcending to what the game is today. And it's just so many things like that I think about, even though I might not ever make the Hall of Fame, but I was a trendsetter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're in our Hall of Fame, and you
Thank
should
you.
be in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Thanks.
there's got to be a reason You don't just go on teams and win championships for no reason. There's a chemical makeup. There's something that's been touched by God that allows people to do that. And I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I actually kind of hated you for a second because I jumped off that Warriors bandwagon for a while and went over to the Kings. And Lottie Divac, C-Web, we had, everyone, Bib, and you put us down too.
Well, the thing that people don't understand.
We were going to win that series.
Yeah, maybe. But, the thing that people don't understand what comes along with the game. Now you're going to go down this path. I'm going to tell you something now. Everybody says that ref, they want to blame the guy who got, arrested and put in jail. If you go back and look at Game 6, they made up for that. Nobody talks about Game 6 where they got all the calls. They got a couple calls where they stepped out of bounds clearly. They got a couple calls where they shot the ball after the shot clock. They got that call. But nobody ever talks about what happened. You know what happened in Game 7? Peja doesn't play in Game 7. Remember that? Yeah. There's no freaking way. If you win this game, you win the NBA championship. He turned his ankle and did not play in that series, in this Game 7. And from getting to know you just now, there's no way in hell that you wouldn't be out there on that court. You at least test it out to see if your ankle could go, right?
I'm going.
He didn't even test it out. So now they had to start Hidayat, and we win that series. So, but nobody, they want to talk about, the Game 5, the cheating and the this and that. It was like, at the end of the day, you still up. You still have a chance to win. You have 2 more games to win that series, and you don't. Don't blame it all on one game, because there's no telling. If you go up 3-1, there's no guarantee you win that game. You forgot who we had. The best duo in basketball, Shaq and Kobe.
And you.
Yeah.
Big Shot Bob.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So everybody's like, oh, we could have won it. There's no guarantee you win that game.
No. No. Man, you got to plug anything?
I just, for me, I'm doing my podcast. I do the Big Shot Bob podcast with a couple of my Rob Jenners and Brandon. We just sit around. We just have fun. We like to have fun.
When am I coming on?
Whenever you have the time, man.
You time and place.
Just I set
time
it up.
And place.
I
folks.
set it up with your peoples, man. We usually, we do it out of the home, so you can be in your bathrobe or you can be on the toilet, whatever you want to do.
Hey.
We do it at the comfort of your own home. But I like this setup.
Yeah,
I like to come and be nosy and see what kind of ideas I can steal, like the Bruce Willis, closest.
Baby, it's a chopper.
Yeah, and that, and off the court, I'm on, I'm working with this company called Sureco, which is kind of fun. It's about trying to help people save money. It's company save money, where we come in and we do it. We analyze your company. And we talk to human resources, and we make the insurance for each individual in that company better for the people.
Yeah,
it's weird how there's a blanket slate when it comes to insurance. When a company comes to, oh, you're just gonna get A, B, and C, but it might not work for you, and it might not work for him or her over there. And we come in and we analyze it, and we adjust it so it works specifically for your needs. And so that's what I'm doing now, which is kind of fun. I love going into companies and trying to get them to, come join our company. Let's talk to your HR and let us, save you $1 million. Like, we save a couple of companies like $3 million. And this is all due to me being a part of this company, all due to me being a 7-time NBA champion.
100%.
So now this is how I'm making that $300 million up.
Hey, I mean, you know what it takes to win.
Mm-hmm.
And when you deal with companies and corporations that are all thirsty to win and they want to know what the X factor is, you bring in an X factor. Big Shot Bob.
Yeah, they want to know, how the winning attitude, the winning mentality. And to me, there's something that can't be explained. Yeah, you scored a lot of points. Yeah, you did this, but did you win? What did you bring to the team other than your points? And did you bring the right attitude? Did you bring the right work ethic? Did you inspire others in another way? Did you know how to, what Michael Jordan would say? Take things personal, and and turn that into dubs. That's what it's all about.
You know who won today?
Who?
Games with Names, for having you on here once again. Big Shot Bob, thanks for coming on.
Man, my pleasure, brother. Thank you for inviting me anytime.
Boy, I could have sat and talked to him for hours.
Big Shot Bob. What a guy.
Military time. Here early.
Tech
Top
fleece,
stories.
Tech fleece on. Took his shoes off the minute he entered the house.
I know.
Respectful.
I felt obligated to take my shoes off in my own house.
I did too.
Can I just bring something up real quick? 10 minutes before a shoot is not that early.
How many athletes have you worked with, and how many athletes have ever been 10 minutes early to a T?
It's facts. It's facts.
A man that played under Greg Popovich.
Pop, military fam, Bama, loves football.
Bama, baby.
Dude, he was so cool, and it was cool to get his perspective from both Pop and Jackson. And a lot of that Pop stuff sound Belichick-y.
Oh, my God. Like, I know you got the Air Force with Pop, you got Navy with Bill, but, like, the brain trust and just...
But instead of, like,
insane.
wine time, my comparison would be like seeing over at the trail mix station at the fucking cafeteria.
Bill was a trail mix guy?
Dude, he put his hands in the communal pot. I'm
bro.
like, Coach, what the fuck? Dude, there's the scoopers. They literally have the scoopers. I feel like we've talked about this before on one of
I don't know that we have, dude. Imagine, what if he did that at, like, the Whole Foods? If he did it at the Whole Foods nut station.
Definitely does it at the Whole Foods.
Scoopers. Bill
He ain't going to
anti-scooper.
Whole Foods. Bill ain't no Whole Foods.
I know. Bill ain't going to the Whole Foods.
Man, that was a fun episode. And can't wait to see him just continue. Insurance, right?
It's awesome. Yeah, he's got a whole. Man. Yeah, he was blowing my mind. That went way over my head.
We're gonna get together again. We'll do it again.
We'll link up. Got to get Big Shot Bob on. We got a quick little post-show segment. I'm gonna put you through the gauntlet again. You ready?
Oh snap!
Post-show segment. It's only right that we talk clutch guys if we had Robert Horry on. So we're gonna go through the world of Mount Clutchmore, the best clutch guys. Might be a couple wrinkles in here. Heads up. And we're doing a little word association. First thing that comes to mind when you hear these guys. And it can't just be clutch.
Man, I hate these.
I'm sorry.
No,
You be in the torture chamber, baby. I'll put you in the torture chamber. You ready? There it is. Michael Jordan,
Go,
Tom Brady,
go,
Derek Jeter,
clutch,
David Ortiz,
boppy,
Joe Montana,
smooth,
James Harden,
Eurostep thing,
Tiger Woods,
Masters,
Adam Vinatieri,
Adam Vinatieri. He's like Jack now.
Bobby Orr,
Fearless,
Dan Marino,
great thrower,
Big Shot Bob,
Big Shot Bob,
Jim Kelly,
wide right,
Kirk Gibson,
Olay,
Brandy Chastain.
stud.
That's it, baby. You like how I threw those wrinkles in there of some not so clutch guys?
Now who's not so clutch?
I mean, Dan Marino, Jimmy Harden,
Is he not
Jim
clutch?
Kelly. I mean, they didn't win the big game. They don't have the rep. I don't think
know.
you'd put their face up there on the mountain, but I mean, they had hell of a careers, made
I
tons
see
of
him.
dough.
In
And
hard, I mean, he's calling shots with. It seems like Mr. Ross over there. I see him in the Hard Knocks. He's in the locker room every time. It's like Daddy Dan in there.
Yo, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like you passed that with flying colors.
I did 3 goats in a row. I could have just said goat. This is
They were that worked for all 3 of those. I thought you were gonna say gift basket for Jeter though.
that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Well, what an episode. Thanks again to Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob. That's been another episode of Games with Names presented by WynnBET. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.